Would you please give us your name, institutional affiliation, and your program and research interests and teaching interests?
Sure. My name is Ed Cueva. I'm professor of classics and humanities at the University of Houston-Downton in the Department of History, Humanities, and Languages. I'm a classicist, so I deal with the ancient Greek and Roman world, but I also delve into the other ancient Mediterranean cultures. Particularly, my research focuses particularly on the ancient novel, the ancient Greek and Roman novel, and also on ancient literature and the occult. Currently, I'm working on texts that deal with the idea of the rise of the modern horror novel and how it has precursors in ancient Greek and Roman literature.
Would you tell us what drew you to the NEH Summer Institute of 2023, organized by the Center for Biology and Society and the Lincoln Center for Applied Ethics at Arizona State University?
Sure. For the last 10 years or so, I've been very interested in the intersection of urban legends and how they have appeared, and especially in American culture, and how they come in and out of existence. And one of the things that I noticed amongst the urban legends is that when they are discussed, they're usually discussed in terms of whether they're true or not. And lots of folks, experts in the field, folklore field, for example, have looked at science to disprove or perhaps put into context these urban legends. So for the last 10 years or so, I've been working in that area in terms of my teaching. So I teach a course on urban legends at the University of Houston-Downton, and we approach it not only from a sociological perspective, but also from a scientific perspective. So when I read about this seminar being offered here at Arizona State University, I decided that it would be a good fit for me, not only to inform my teaching, but also because at the University of Houston-Downton, I was asked to, or I recently put together a medical humanities concentration within the humanities BA. So we spent the last 2 or 3 years, it was a little difficult because of the pandemic, launching the degree, but we spent the last 2 or 3 years working on that. So I thought that since I've been dealing with medical humanities and this seminar here in Tempe deals with sciences and the humanities and the intersection of both, I thought it would be a quite appropriate seminar for me to attend.
You mentioned literary studies, sociology, and folklore. How easy or how challenging would you say it is for faculty to pursue such interdisciplinary endeavors?
Right. Well, it depends, right, where you're at. I mean, here at Arizona State, it's encouraged. Interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, transdisciplinary, research, teaching, innovation. They do a great, fantastic job here. It's really impressive. It really depends upon the institution. At the University of Houston-Downton, we are encouraged to do that, but there are parameters, right? There's the limits, there's the reality of how do you schedule this work, how do you schedule these courses, who gets credit for what if you're teaching a course, teaching a course, for example. So there's all of those logistical issues that one has to deal with. So, as I said, it depends upon the institution. At the University of Houston-Downton, we are encouraged, but there are the realities of administrative challenges. The other thing that the University of Houston-Downton does well, and they've started this recently under a former vice president, Dr. Jerry Johnson, who's a biologist. He set up a program during the summer where faculty from across the university can get together and work on prepping a grant. It has to be an interdisciplinary grant during the summer. And there are certain conditions. If you want to be part of this think tank, it's called a TRIP. If you want to be part of it, you do have to come from at least 2 different colleges, and you do have to have both tenured track faculty and tenured faculty. So there's a good mixture of new faculty, seasoned faculty, faculty from different disciplines, and and also from different colleges. So last summer, I worked with folks from philosophy, from English, and from biology to put together an NEH grant that will hopefully support the medical humanities program at the University of Houston-Downton. The grant is meant to enrich the inventory of courses in the program, and hopefully, if we're successful, we'll hear sometime in December.
Sounds very interesting, Ed. What role would you say a liberal arts education can play to prepare students to face the challenges of our present world?
Right, well, if you look at the educational system, at least higher education, there's an extreme focus, unfortunately, to the detriment of the liberal arts, the humanities, a focus on STEM fields. So a lot of our students are really interested in the STEM fields. They're being encouraged to enter into those STEM fields, but they're not being exposed to what the humanists can offer them, which is instrumental in understanding the sciences, right? So you have the scientific development, but what do you do with it? How does it interact with society? What are the implications for the global community? Those things that humanists are prepared to discuss, students are not really being exposed to at the current moment. They're being taught the science, right? Wonderful innovation, wonderful lab work, but what do you do with the results? Or how do you handle the results, especially if it has any sort of ramifications into our students' own lives? So I think it's really important that both come together. I know the humanists are always ready and open. We're prepared to discuss these things. I think it's just a matter of getting the folks in the sciences and the humanities together to form a better type of liberal arts education and higher education here in the States.
Right. Ed, have you come to Arizona before, or is this your first visit? What are your impressions about ASU and Phoenix, Tempe, Arizona in general?
Yeah, I've been to Arizona before. I've been to Sedona. I've been up to Flagstaff. I've been to Tucson, and I've been to Phoenix, but never for such a long period of time. I can say that it's really hot here, although I come from Houston where it's also hot, but it's really hot here. Aside from that, it's a wonderful place. The university is just amazing. The faculty here, Dr. Jason Robert, Dr. Eric O'Neill, and Richard Clark in the lab are just truly superb. They're top rate. They've made this such a wonderful experience, especially Richard in the lab. I haven't been in a wet lab in, I would say, 40 years or so, maybe 40 years, maybe 35 years. It's been a long time. So I was a little apprehensive walking into the wet lab, handling pipettes and bacteria and all sorts of plasmids. And now we're working with CRISPR today and next week. I felt that things would go wrong. And so far, thanks to Richard and Erica and Jason, things are going really well. We were informed yesterday that our colonies are growing, so we should see lots of blue colonies today when we go check out the lab.
Great. Thank you, Ed, for taking the time. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to talking more and continuing this conversation.
Thank you, John.